So if you're working with alcohol inks or you've been working with watercolors, you may ask yourself, are these mediums very similar, and can I paint the same thing and can I get the same outcome? So in today's video, we're going to show you how to do this lovely pansy painting using watercolor, and then next week we're going to do the same one with alcohol inks. So stick around and I'll show you step by step how to create this one, starting with watercolor. Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Creating with Kelly, with new videos every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So click that subscribe button so you don't miss them. So we're going to start out with a watercolor pansy painting today. And I have my iPad here, and I have graphed this out with my iPad, and I have drawn this in. And then I also shaded in the areas for the darker values. Now, I will put a link here for you guys for a PDF if you want to print this one off, so you will have it right beside you if you want to paint along. Now, I did speed this painting up because it is quite a lengthy painting. So we're going to start off with using some masking fluid, and I am using the brand Winsor Newton. I love this kind. I have the one that has a little bit of a tint to it so you can slightly see it. You can mix your paints with it a little bit if you want to darken it just a little bit more so that you can see the areas that you want to keep white. Now, if you have followed me on my online courses, you know that I often do not use masking fluid. I usually use gouache. Now, what I like to do is pour my masking fluid into a separate little container, and then in my other container I have some Dawn dish soap. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on my brush and make sure it's up inside those bristled areas up at the top. And this will help you save your brushes so that you can reuse them. So let's go ahead and we're going to start this off by just putting in the areas here. You can see where it's bright white. So this is where I'm going to use my masking fluid. So I'm just going to dip my brush into the masking fluid, and we're going to go ahead and speed this up for you, and we're just fill this all in. All these little white areas here that you see on my iPad is what I am covering up here. So we're going to rinse our brush off immediately after finishing using the masking fluid, and we're going to let that masking fluid dry. And this one came out really well. I have no leftover residue from the masking fluid, so this brush is good to go for the next time. So I just pop my cap back on here, and we'll be able to save this for the next time. This is great for traveling if you're using masking fluid as well. So I have used my iPad here, and I have created the image in black and white so that I can very easily see those values where they're light and where they're dark. And I do want to give a shout out to my friend and artist Cheryl Williams. She has some fantastic, very detailed courses online as well, and I'll put a link to her YouTube channel as well as her courses down below for you if you want to check those out. Of course, along with my own. I'll have that down there for you as well. So you can change on your iPad here all these different colors, so you can really pick and choose anything you want to do for your painting if you want to make some adjustments. Now I'm going to start with a very light yellow here, and what I'm going to do is just wet this area in first, because I want a very pale yellow in this area, and we're going to layer this step by step here. Now, you may notice my paint kit here to the right-hand side is not my normal student quality Cotman paint kit. In this one, I wanted to try out using my artist quality Winsor Newton paint, so I'll put a link for you on this below. I got this kit last year and I absolutely love it. The pigments are much richer, and it's very easy to mix up the paints. The pigments just are a little bit more darker and easier to mix. So I will give you guys the link down below for that. And I'm also using my favorite brushes. These are my KOLINSKY watercolor brushes, and I also will be using my Winsor Newton watercolor brushes here. So you can see that that yellow was a little bit brighter than what I wanted. I wanted a little bit duller than what it was. So I just took my tissue and just kind of tapped that off while it was still wet, and that lightened that right up. So we're going to continue with our first wash with the yellow, and I'm going to hit all of these areas here that you see that are in yellow. And even the darker yellow areas, we will add this first light coat on those as well, and we'll deepen those colors as we go along in the process. Now, as I said at the beginning here, I did speed this up. So this is actually going 8 times its normal speed. And I did have to cut out a lot of the raw footage because being on YouTube, I didn't want to be on here for 2 hours showing you guys how to do this painting. It might get a little boring for you. So I tried to step it up and just give you some of the basics here, and hopefully you get a gist of how I did this. So I went ahead and put the yellow in those areas. I'm letting that dry, and now I'm going into a light shade of purple. And I will give you the name of that here down below on the right hand side. And I just want to show you here, while this is wet, you can tap the colors in and kind of work that in a wet and wet. And it's a little trickier, so if you're just starting out with watercolor, you're really better off just putting your first layer of wash and letting that dry. Then you can re-wet the area and add the deeper colors as you progress into the darker shades and darker values. But I did want to show you, you can do it both ways. If you have used watercolor for a long time and you're comfortable with that, then obviously feel free to jump right in there. But I am just doing this a very light wash here. Most of my classes are for beginners. They're my favorite ones to teach, and I try not to get too technical with most of my online courses. I try to keep it very basic. So if you're looking for something basic and fun and light and more like creative time, my courses really are all about that. And I had mentioned Cheryl's courses here to you as well earlier, and hers are wonderful if you want lots of details, and she gets very in-depth with her courses, so she's wonderful as well. I have so many artists here that are from our alcohol ink art community, and we'll be doing coming up, I had mentioned it last week, a demo with Jane Monteith. We're going to be doing a collaboration. So I do want to mention, while I have you guys here, and she's going to do the same thing on her YouTube site, and I will put her link down below for you as well. But we want to know, what is it that you guys want to see? What are you interested in? What would you like for us to collab on? We both do a lot with alcohol ink and a lot with resin, and before we went ahead and did the video, we wanted to make sure it's something that you guys want to see. So if you could comment down below, let us know what you're thinking, what you want to see. We would love to hear it. So you can see here now I am going in with a little bit deeper shade, adding some darker purple to this area. Now this is a lot of washes. These are a lot of buildups. I'm really going a little bit darker than what I want to here, but I'm trying to do this quicker. It's really best when you're working with watercolors to do these layers a little bit deeper. It will give it more of a 3D look, and your painting will be less flat by doing it that way, by adding these layers and layers upon each other. But like I said, for YouTube here, I'm trying to speed up the process just so you guys can get an idea of what we're doing. So I did want to mention once again, if you are new to watercolors and you want to try out one of my online courses, I do offer a free course to my new subscribers, and you will usually get the link within 24 hours of signing up. So you always want to make sure you check your spam, your inbox. Sometimes it gets put in different places, but I will put a link for you guys as well down below, so that you can sign up if you want to try a watercolor course, kind of see what my online courses are all about. I try to do everything step by step and in real time for you, and like I said, they're really about being creative and just having fun, kind of like a paint night online. So let's speed this up again here. I'm just going to fill in the rest of this with the darker shades and a little bit of the blue here and the green for just that little bit of sky that you see kind of sweeping through here. So I'm just putting a last little wash here of ultramarine blue on top of the purple just to give it a little bit more vibrancy like it was in the photograph on the iPad that I had adjusted. And now I've let that dry, and I have this fun little tool that I came across a few years ago. My mother and I would paint together, and we would spend hours removing our masking fluid, especially if you don't take it off right away. If you let it sit for too long, it does not want to come off. And this little block here is wonderful for removing it. Now obviously this is coming off very easy because I have fresh masking fluid, and it's really only sat for, you know, maybe 30 minutes or so here, so it's coming off really easy. But this thing is great. It's just like a little it's like a little magic eraser. So I will put the link for you guys down below on that too, in case you've never seen those before. So finishing up here, I am re-wetting this area here one more time, and I'm going to put a little bit of gouache on here because I did not have this bright, vibrant color that I was hoping for. So this is called Opera Rose, and it is gouache. And gouache is more of a non-transparent, more opaque, chalky type consistency, but it can be used with watercolor. And I will use this a lot. I use the white gouache a lot, and every once in a while I'll throw in a little bit of color. And for the Opera Rose, I did put a lot of water in this, so I'm using it more as a just a glaze or a wash on top of the color. I don't want a whole lot of it to show, but you can see that nice light pink area that it's come up with here, and it looks more similar to the picture on the left-hand side. So now I'm going into my final details, going to throw in the darkish values that I have here and do some of the veining in the flowers themselves. Now I do have an Instagram page, and if you may have already seen a lot of this. I tried to do some of the steps along the way on my Instagram account. But I wanted to mention it to you once again because I would love to see your work. If you actually print off the PDF here or I think it's JPEG or PDF, I'm not sure which I'm going to do here, but of the sketch, and you guys do this, I would love to see it. So make sure that you tag me on my Instagram account, or you can also tag me on Facebook, and I'll put the links here for you so that you know how to do that. Some people are unfamiliar with hashtags and the little @ symbol. So one's for addressing, the other one's the hashtag is if you want me to see it, and if you hashtag my name, it will show up on my page when I open it, so I'll know that you've done that. So that would be awesome. I would love to see it. So just putting in again some of the finer details here, and I am going to do one last coat on here to soften this up. And let's get just a few more details in here. I didn't get much of this done and I realized it. Adding just a few more values in here where that petal kind of turns. So another fun little project, if you're interested in painting with watercolor, is to use Saran wrap and create a background and then take a look at it once it dries and see what kind of little shapes that you can find in it. And I do have one here on YouTube that I did, and I will put that up here for you. So if you want to watch the video on that, it's just a really fun little project that I did, and it was another flower. That's what I saw in the painting when I was done. So since I'm doing flowers, I thought I would mention that to you. So if you want to check that out, you can. So I'm just kind of filling in some of those areas where I had the masking fluid, and then I realized that I covered up an area that should have been white. So if you happen to have that happen to you, you can grab the white gouache, which is what I'm doing here, and you can turn it back to white. I love gouache because of this. It's great when I'm doing my live classes because masking fluid takes so long sometimes to dry and go through the process of taking it off, and you have to use extra brushes. So white gouache is a really fun little tool, and you will find I use this a lot in my paintings. Now, traditional watercolorists might thumb that down, but the great thing about art is you can do whatever you want to do, and I choose to use it. So I will put the link for you on the tube that I use here. I use Winsor Newton brand for that. So I'm pretty much almost done here, filling in just a few of these last little areas, and then I am going to actually start my alcohol ink version of this coming up soon. I'm hoping it goes as well as the watercolor one did. So I will be working on that this week, and I will show you guys next Tuesday, for next Tuesday's video at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll pop that up there for you so you can take a look at it. So once again, make sure you click that like button, subscribe button. I would love to have you guys join my little YouTube channel here. I'm working on really trying to get more content out for you guys each week. And it does take some time to get these videos processed. I had no idea it took this long. So in order for me to offer this stuff up for free, I really appreciate you guys taking my full classes, as that's where my income comes from. I am a full-time artist and full-time instructor, and I do teach on Skillshare as well. So I actually said last week or the week before that I had 2,500 students. I need to change that because I actually have over 5,000 online students with Skillshare as well as Udemy, and then I have taught thousands and thousands of folks here in Maine during my adult education courses, and I'm so blessed to be able to teach online now that I'm at the Portland airport during the summer time. So I meet so many people that do not live in Maine, and this is why I started teaching online to begin with, to be able to share that with you guys everywhere. And I have so many people from Canada, from Australia, from United Kingdom. I mean, it's just amazing. I read every day. I'm so shocked at how many people are taking classes from all over the world. So thank you so much. So the last little bit here, I am just using some water, and I am going to blend this out a little bit because I just felt it was a little too stark. So you can see how you can soften. You can actually lift a little bit of the watercolor to lighten the areas if you want. And here is the finished piece. So I hope you guys liked it, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully, for the alcohol ink. So fingers crossed that it goes well. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.